Today, we'll be looking into the lore of Ningguang, her backstory, her personality, and the relationships he has with the people of Liyue. There will be spoilers for the main quest up to the end of A New Star Approaches, so I'd advise waiting to watch this video if you haven't completed that yet. So, let's get started. Who is Ningguang? Ningguang is the Tianshuan of the Liyue Qixing, or 7 Stars of Liyue, which are the governing body that controls all of the commerce that takes place in Liyue Harbor. Her name means frozen or concentrated light in Chinese, and her title of Tianshuan means celestial balance and is the Chinese name for the star in the Big Dipper named Megrez or Delta Ursae Majoris, representing the bear's tail. Though she did not come from a prestigious background, she worked hard to achieve the position she now occupies, as Zhongli states.
Despite the multitude of affairs that she deals with in a day, Ningguang always continues to press on. A rare gem indeed. I'm reminded of the time that she used to walk barefoot from Yaoguang Shoal to the South Wharf, trying to sell her wares as she went. Time is cruel to humans.
This shows us the level of her dedication and determination, but the line of time being cruel to humans hints towards something unknown as of right now. Perhaps she lost something or someone in the past that caused her to favor Mora and no longer look for comfort in ephemeral things, as they are destined to fade away with time. The primary role of the Qixing is to play things safe and keep a low profile. Ningguang, however, is the only exception to this. She is the talk of the town in Liyue Harbor, a socialite at the banquets of Yujin Terrace, a friendly big sister to the children of Liyue Harbor, and an excellent merchant in the eyes of her rivals. Each seem to tell a different story of Ningguang, but one thing they can all agree on is that she is someone truly extraordinary. She is the person responsible for amending and interpreting the laws of Liyue, and is humorously referred to as the Tailor of Liyue, in honor of her speed in patching up any loopholes and her sharpness of eye, making many merchants fear stepping out of line, and therefore keeping order and stability, which in turn creates greater prosperity for Liyue. She is the owner of the Jade Chamber, a floating palace held up by plaustrite, a rock that naturally floats due to some mysterious properties. It is seen used in the foundation of the Adepti's retreat and is used in the crafting of Zhao lanterns. Whenever she has important business matters to handle, she will retreat to this palace with her 3 trusted confidants, Bai Shi, Bai Wen, and Bai Zhao. They will then sort through the relevant information and hang the summaries on the wall, while Ningguang rests against the railings, enjoying the view of Liyue and quietly mulling everything over in her mind. Though each time they do this, she is certain to arrive at the perfect solution before her confidants have finished adding everything to the wall. Once she has made her decision, she shreds everything and throws it out of the window, creating a snowstorm of paper over Liyue Harbor. The handwriting on the shredded pieces of paper stands out like ink in the snow to all the merchants, for they know that whenever Ningguang's shredded snow falls, a huge change is about to descend on the business community. Ningguang knows everything. Foreigners will often find the Liyue locals warning them. Loophole hunting guilds, market manipulating hoarders, smugglers coming ashore with their illicit goods. The Tianshuan knows all the details, good, bad, and ugly. Once, an alchemist from Sumeru was travelling in Liyue and unwittingly happened across the records of a certain Noctilus Jade transaction involving the Blackcliff Forge 10 years prior. That night, someone from Ningguang's inner circle knocked on his window and invited him to join Ningguang in the Jade Chamber for a talk. The truth is that Ningguang's eyes and ears are in fact the children who play on the streets of Liyue Harbor. Between them, they are aware of every confidential meeting, every private conversation, and every new visitor to the city. Ningguang considers their intel amongst the most important she has, saying,
I've always believed that children are the most naive and innocent. The reports they give me are of the most value. So what about you? What will you have for me?
When Big Sister Ningguang gathers them around, her promise of delicious treats proves to be an irresistible incentive, and so they tell her everything they know. Once she has finished carefully cross-referencing everything she has learned from the children against other sources, there is no secret hidden from her in Liyue Harbor. She understands the value of reciprocity more than anyone, which is why she is more than willing to invest the time in mingling with the common folk. On top of that, she does actually like seeing the children smile. Though naturally kind-hearted, her pragmatic nature and air of mystery is viewed with suspicion by many. Regardless, she allows her good deeds to go unnoticed, possibly to keep the air of mystery that gives her an edge in her business dealings. She says this about Zhang Ling.
That girl from One Min restaurant. Her suspicion towards me is always written all over her face. I wonder what face she would make if only she knew how much I helped finance that restaurant.
And her genuine care shows for the children of Liyue, when she comments on Yao Yao.
I presume you mean the girl whom Ganyu has taken under her wing. Do not worry. I have no plans to make this matter public. I am content to extend some leniency to the odd bit of mischievous maneuvering by that boat captain. One thing, though, Yo-Yo seems to have become somewhat enamored with seafood lately. You should try to convince her to include some more fruits and vegetables in her diet.
Though she is kind and friendly towards the children of Liyue, when it comes to business, she is ruthless and fiercely competitive. To her, the business world is a playground, and the zero-sum games are the most exciting. Each round she wins against a wealthy merchant brings a gleeful smile to her face as they sigh and reluctantly hand over the mora. And nothing makes her happier than seeing the guilds bow to her wishes. Every victory in this game adds to the wealth of the Liyue Qixing. Liyue Harbor prospers as a result, and this in turn creates more business opportunities and more profit for Ningguang. Every member of the Liyue Qixing is more than happy with this perfect cycle of interlocking interests. When she first came to power as the Tinshuan and received her vision as a blessing from Rex Lapis, she saw that the taxation was prejudiced to favor certain guilds under corrupt leaders. She moved like the wind to reform the laws and punished those that had taken advantage of the system, heavily fining several guilds and firing many of the staff involved. The tax-dodging merchants would tremble at her sight, all except the master of the Yulong Guild, Haiyan. Built like a giant and strong enough to wrestle a shark, he stormed from his seat of power to confront Ningguang in her mansion. But after 3 or 4 hours, none could hear a thing from inside. Wondering what strange powers Ningguang's mansion had, that it would keep anyone from hearing anything from inside, they suddenly heard a sound, like a peal of thunder. This was most likely where negotiations failed, and Beidou decided to lend Ningguang a hand, both becoming enemies of the Great Shipping Line, the Yulong Guild. Her relationship with the captain of the Crux fleet, Beidou, is a complicated one. Ningguang views her as the black sheep of Liyue Harbor, due to her disregard for the rules, smuggling contraband, and leveraging her exotic cargo and exclusive business intelligence. As Tianquan, it fell to Ningguang to impose heavy fines on Beidou each time she transgressed the rules. But, much to her consternation, Beidou seems to take these fines in her stride, like water off a duck's back. Though Ningguang tried to implore Beidou to change her ways, she would justify her actions as enacting justice or helping the poor, and so did not listen to Ningguang's advice. In the end, even Ningguang gave up trying to change the stubborn Beidou, and the two now seem to be on relatively good terms, or at least have a mutual understanding and level of respect for one another. For every person in Liyue that is mistrusting of Ningguang, there are a dozen more that are enamored with her beauty and incredible intelligence. Being the charming and wealthy woman that she is, Ningguang has never had a shortage of suitors. It seems that every eligible bachelor, from the young esquires of the Yujing Terrace to accomplished young businessmen to renowned sea captains, has at some point invested substantial energy in trying to win Ningguang's affection. One rumor even has it that a wealthy businessman from the court of Fontaine signed a major trade deal with Liyue for the sole reason that it would mean he could see Ningguang more often. She even has a young man at the Yaoguang Shoal that has fallen in love with her, convinced that she is his soulmate, as she sometimes still strolls this beach to get away from the bustling harbour. Though she will entertain these admirers, she keeps them all at a distance, enough to keep them interested but not push them away, as that would be bad for business. Although many speculate on who her lover is, they do not know that Ningguang has no love for finite things, and will certainly not be bound by something that is finite. The Jade Chamber belongs to her alone. It started out about the size of a room, but has since grown so large that in the moonlight, it casts its shadow over the whole of Liyue. She is always hiring more skilled craftsmen to ensure that the palace becomes even more extravagant over time. It is the symbol of her wealth and power, and save for Mora, it is the thing that Ningguang loves most in the world. She insists that one day, it will cast its shadow over all of the 7 nations of Teyvat. For her abilities, Ningguang seems to be incredibly powerful, though she prefers to settle problems with her mind. We see in the battle against Osile that she is able to summon a floating platform outside of the Jade Chamber with ballista to attack the ancient god. Though she is receiving help from the Adepti and the Traveler, her support during this battle was invaluable, and without her help, it may have been too much for the others to overcome. As for how she received her vision, Ningguang obtained it after finding one that had lost its elemental power and is described as a masterless husk, though there was still a tiny chance that it could resonate with another, and only one other at a time. Still, she thought of it as a new business opportunity. If she put it up for sale, it would surely have the rich shelling out for it. Even if they couldn't resonate with it, they could use it to keep up appearances. She even thought that if there was a way to collect these empty visions, it could become a long-term business, but her plans were promptly put on hold. Playing with the jewel in one hand, Ningguang began writing plans for an auction in the other, her smile widening as she thought about the riches to be had. And at that moment, her vision shone forth its light. Ningguang's smile froze as the vision activated. Her attendants, coming upon the sight of their mistress, awakened vision in hand, began to congratulate her on having obtained a priceless treasure. Ningguang, for her part, seemed annoyed instead. What's there to be happy about? Once broken, considered sold. During the apparent murder of Rex Lapis, Ningguang was quick to hide the exuvia, or body, that was left behind, to prevent the Fatui from taking the Gnosis, as they did in Mondstadt. Her intelligence network clued her in to what the Fatui were doing, long before we knew anything, and due to this, she was keeping a watchful eye on Tartaglia, likely as soon as he arrived. In the Jade Chamber, we see that in a strange notebook, there is a modified book cipher, which when deciphered spells out, the Fatui will strike the Golden House, showing us that there is hardly anything that goes on in Liyue without Ningguang knowing about it. Though diplomatic relations are delicate, she said she could not be too concerned with appearances when opposing the Fatui, as they busied themselves with many clandestine actions beyond their diplomatic remit, and anything causing instability in Liyue is something she is quite experienced at reining in already. We know that Ningguang's love for the Jade Chamber is second only to her love for Mora, but during the crisis of Osile's awakening and the potential annihilation of Liyue Harbor, she did not hesitate to sacrifice her greatest treasure to defeat the god and save her city. Though she had worked her whole life to build this monument to her success, it would mean nothing if the city she created this success within was destroyed. So it could be viewed in the pragmatic sense that she is known for. Owning the Jade Chamber would mean nothing if her city was gone, and so she chose the most advantageous option, even mentioning that she was hoping to use her sacrifice as a bargaining chip with the Adepti in a half-joking tone. There are rumors that a new Jade Chamber is currently under construction, though gathering the necessary resources may take a while. Ningguang's assistant Bai Wen hints that while plans are underway, acquiring the material Plausterite will be the biggest headache, due to its rarity and the amount needed for the chamber. The Mingzhou lantern at the Lantern Rite Festival is a fraction of the amount needed, and that is said to be the largest they've had in 20 years. Still, with Ningguang's mental and financial resources, I'm sure she'll figure out how to have it built quicker than anyone expects. Her symbol is, after all, the phoenix, as we see in her clothing and name card. As for what we can expect from Ningguang in the future, in her voice line she says,
I've been thinking about something lately. If I were to keep you in Liyue, Perhaps, at the right time, I might be able to leverage this city to... For now, it's mere conjecture. I should really consider whether the investment is worth it some more.
This hints that Ningguang is aware of an upcoming event that the traveler will be an important part of, and that she will be able to use Liyue Harbor's influence to her advantage. Perhaps she has some information that the Tsaritsa is planning a big move soon that could affect all of Teyvat. Now that the Tsaritsa has Venti and Zhongli's gnosis, as well as her own, she may act more aggressively in her plans of expansion, as it seems she wants the whole of Teyvat to be united under the Fatui's control. Perhaps she believes that this is the only way to oppose Celestia and have a chance of winning. She may even want to try and kidnap or tempt our traveler to her side after hearing about their strange powers from another world. Regardless, this is all speculation, so we'll have to wait and see how things unfold. I doubt Ningguang is going to hand over anything she views as hers to the Tsaritsa though. Certainly not Liyue Harbor, and certainly not the traveler she seems to have taken a liking to, but hopefully we'll find out more soon. There are also rumors that Ningguang may be the reincarnation of the ancient god Guizhong, Morax's old partner, though these rumors cannot be confirmed either way. And that's all I could find on Ningguang. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed finding out a little more to her story. If you did, consider giving me a like or subscribing to let me know, and if you've got any ideas about Ningguang or anything else in Genshin, let me know in the comment section below. Happy Lantern Rite.